Welcome into today's jam-packed episode with action steps that you can do in the next 30 days. No matter where you are in your home buying timeline, these tips are going to get you some forward progress. Let's make some headway.
How to Buy a Home educates, protects, and connects first-time homebuyers to qualified vetted realtors in their area. Whether you're looking for DIY information or step-by-step guidance, How to Buy a Home is the #1 resource for first-time homebuyers.
What's happening, How to Buy a Homies? I'm David Sidoni, and today I have 8 things that all of you can do starting today that's going to put you miles ahead of the average first-time homebuyer in just 30 days. Action step number 1, build your true payment number. Okay, who is immediately bummed out because you are hoping for a whole bunch of fun house hunting tips? Gang, it's called your dream home, but getting there is no fantasy, and HGTV is lying to you. So what we're going to do is we're going to start with this one, then we'll get into the fun stuff. This is about setting you up for that attainable achievement so you can really get your own dream. If you've ever done any first-time homebuyer research, no doubt you've seen the advice out there. Hey, before you get started, make sure you know what you can afford. Great, but that's where most people stop, and nobody teaches you how to do it. So here's your homework. Doesn't matter if you're buying a home in 1 month or a year or even longer than that. Start by building your own debt-to-income ratio calculation. This is something you're going to need later on. Doesn't matter when you're doing it. And start practicing today because this will be an integral part of your budgeting so you can get everything that you need to set you up to buy a home with maximum buying power. Take your annual gross income, or 2 incomes if there's more of you, or 3 or 4, depending on how many of you guys are buying a home. Take that annual gross income and then divide by 12. That's your monthly gross income. Then you're going to add up these things: your rent plus minimum monthly payments on credit cards, car loans, student loans, installment loans, personal loans, any loans, and alimony if you have that. Now, to get your DTI, you're going to divide the monthly debt payments plus your current rent payment, add those up, and divide that by your gross monthly income. Bam, all there is to it. That's your DTI, your debt to income ratio. Hopefully it's sitting somewhere between 20 and 40%. Now, when you apply for a home loan, you're going to replace your rent payment with the estimated new mortgage payment, and that will be calculating your debt to income ratio that the banks are going to use when they're getting you your home loan approval. So today, add it up, divide it, figure it out, write it down, and then check on it monthly. And if you want help with budgeting while you're getting ready, I've reviewed a whole bunch of budgeting apps. That's on episode 416, and I told you which ones are the best for first-time home buyers. Action step number 2. All right, now let's get into the fun stuff for you. Building your wish list, but it's special. We're going to build a no regrets wish list that you can also afford. Now, like everything else in buying a home, building a wish list, there is no one perfect one-size-fits-all design for everybody. You each are going to need to create your own personal design, your own personal wish list. So grab your favorite adult beverage and then sit down with either a pad of paper, or you can do it on your laptop or some fancy schmancy spreadsheet, and start wishing. Extra big advice here. If you are doing this, and by doing this, I mean buying a home with a partner, absolutely do this in the next 30 days, as soon as you can, because it's much easier to have all these wish list discussions now than when you're walking through a home that you're thinking about writing an offer on. There's a million different ways to write a wish list. Here's one of the best ways that I've seen clients over the years do it. 3 columns: must have, nice to have, and the third column is we'd love to have this, but only if it's basically free, because these are things we really can't afford right now, but maybe we can upgrade to them later. Those are the 3 columns I recommend. Next, fill in everything in each column. Use a pencil or an editable format somewhere. You want to be able to change these as you go along, and put in everything, including the obvious, all the way to the way out there. You start with your non-negotiable items, and be sure to think about more than just bedrooms and bathrooms. Think about the layout of the home, the lot size, things you want both indoors and outdoors, all the wants and needs for those. And a quick side note to anyone who's buying a home with somebody else: I don't care if it's your sister or your partner or your cousin, make sure you guys have talked about what is a fixer-upper. Truly define it, because those columns are going to change drastically depending on if someone's down with buying a fixer-upper and what they think a fixer-upper is. The must-haves, that's pretty much the easy part. But once you get past that, it's time to start brainstorming big. There are no bad ideas because you got 3 columns to put them in. I always tell people to think inside and outside the box. And in this case, the box is the walls of the home. So that means including your preferences for the yard, both front, back, and side, the garage, the basement. And then you want to look at neighborhoods, school districts, entertainment in the area, dining, shopping, hiking, biking, parks, walkability, public transportation, and the location. You have to think about commute time. You also want to look at other community activities that might make a neighborhood more or less the kind of neighborhood you want to live in. Always think about safety. Think about major lifestyle, the vibes of the neighborhood that you want to live in. Also look at the future developments that may be coming to the city because that could change the whole dynamic of where you're going to live. And then just keep going and going and going and going. Build your list of your favorite things that you would like to be close to. Think of the location of that home as the center of your universe. And then think about what you want in your gravitational pull. Now, I know for some of you, you might be like really excited about doing this. And some of you might think that this is torture. But I tell you, I've seen this happen so many times. It is so incredibly helpful to take the time to brainstorm, to write it all out. Because later on, you're going to have to be moving things from column to column, and you're going to have to start making some tough choices. Buying a home is about flexibility. It's also about the big nasty C word, not the one that you're thinking, especially not you people from the UK. I'm talking about compromise. Buying your first home, it's never about finding the perfect home. It's a process of elimination. It's like building a puzzle, but you know that your table, it's never going to have a complete puzzle on it. It's always going to be missing some pieces. You're looking for the home with the fewest missing pieces that makes the most complete picture for you. So go ahead, make a wish, and then be ready to mix in some reality. And another tip on this. Some people take all the financial aspects of a home and then they try to put a monetary value on the multiple different intangible factors. And then they add up the tangible and intangible financial stuff, and they create a best value formula. I have seen many a spreadsheet enthusiast go psycho with this. And you know what? They end up driving themselves crazy. And sometimes they math themselves right out of the best home for them. Here's something very important to remember as a first-time home buying shopper. Eventually, you're going to be touring several homes, from very affordable homes to your big stretch homes. And then you're going to find the homes that fit best. And the thing to remember is, after you get an accurate feel of what the costs are for each home that you see in real life, you won't be touring homes on the weekend and then breaking down each one by a specific numerical formula that you have created. You're just going to be comparing one home to another. And all the extra values and financial stuff, it's all going to come into one big ranking system, ranking them against each other. And it's not going to be based on a spreadsheet that you've created that's sitting at home on your desktop. If you are a fellow spreadsheet nerd, hi there, feel ya. If you're the kind of person who just simply must quantify each home down to a number so you can totally geek out and then rank them in some numeric value formula, I've got a better solution for you. Create a goal scorecard to help you score each home. But what you're going to do is you're going to put a value based on the list of things I'm about to give you and then drop them in the appropriate budget category for you. So from this list, score each home you see on a 0 to 5. Okay? 1, location. 2, commute. 3, layout. 4, the space. Beds, baths, number of rooms, the square feet. Number 5, the condition. Number 6, the safety. Number 7, the lifestyle fit, community amenities, and all that stuff. Number 8, the hidden cost risk, the age of the home, things that might break. Number 9, the potential. All right, that's an interesting one, but I do want you to put that in as one of your scores. And number 10, the vibe of the home. Is it you? Okay, so when you're narrowing it down, take those 10 things, score 0 to 5 on all 10 of those. Now add up your points, save that total. Next thing you do, come up with 3 or 4 payment categories for yourself. It's up to you, because remember, this is your own personal process. So if you were going to do 4, I'd do them like this. 1 would be the top stretch payment for a dream home. 2 would be a comfortable payment, something that financially fits into what you're trying to achieve. Number 3, a little under your comfort level, a little extra room. Maybe you could do some improvements or renovations. And number 4, a really cheap payment for a home that is a project, a fixer. Okay, now you've got your 4 categories and you got your point total. If a home scores below 15, then that's got to be in the fixer category. Something that scores 16 to 25, that should fit in the little extra room just below your comfort level category. Something that scores 26 to 40, that can be in your comfortable payment budget. And then something that scores 41 to 50, that lands in your affordability stretch category. So go ahead, rewind, write those down, make your categories, and then do this just for fun on Zillow. And then later, when you've got your real estate support team that's going to help you build your strategies and give you clarity on your numbers, well, then you can adjust this scorecard when you're seeing homes IRL, in person. And be ready for those scores to change and shift when you go from on your computer to actually walking through the home. All right, action step number 3, prioritize your credit score to save big money. Now, if you haven't started doing this yet, I have news for you. You're behind. Credit score improvements take one thing and only one thing to get better: time. So it doesn't matter what your timeline is to buy a home, months or years. Take 20 to 30 minutes a day for the next 2 weeks and lock in on your credit score. Here's 3 things that you can do right now. Pay down your credit cards closest to their limits before the statement closing date. And if you're not paying down to the limits, make your payment before the statement closing date. Number 2, once you figured out what those dates are, set it up on auto pay and set payment reminders on your phone. Number 3, stay away from credit repair shortcuts or scams or quick things to boost your score. If you want real tips and tactics on improving your credit score with no fee, no payment, absolutely zero charge of any kind, go to episode 403. You get all the details on how to bump your score up, especially for buying a home. Small improvements in your credit score can save you enormous money, and not just immediately, for years and years to come. And I repeat this, credit score building and especially repairing, it takes time. So this is your homework that was due last week and you haven't turned it in yet. Because the more time you work on it, the better your results, the more options that become available to you when you're home shopping, and the more money that you save, not just in the initial purchase, but in your monthly payments for as long as you own the home. Episode 403 has more details. Action step number 4, create a down payment savings automation. Absolutely. Yes. Automate, automate, automate. Do it at the same time that you're working on your credit score and your debt management. I don't care if it's $25 a week. Start an automated down payment savings account immediately. Open a dedicated account. Create automatic transfers from every paycheck. Do it on the same day every week. No exceptions, non-negotiable. Don't save what's left over. Save first. Action step number 5. This is the fun stuff. Start your neighborhood recon or reconnaissance if you're not an action movie nerd like I am. A home is more than walls and rooms. It's the center of your universe. So your homework is visit neighborhoods. Starting today, plan different trips. Go on a different route on your way to work every single day. Plan weekend excursions, shopping trips, hikes, dog walks, dinners out, or anytime you head out in the world, plan a different trip through different neighborhoods to do more research. And make sure you go during morning and evening rush hours. Go in the middle of the day sometimes. Go when school's getting out sometimes. And be sure you make sure you see neighborhoods both on the weekend days and the weekend nights. Number 6, little homework that's going to cause a lot less headache later on. Create a digital folder and call it your home buying file. There is nothing more stressful and truly just a big ass bummer than finally going out to look at homes, finding a dream place, and then having to scramble to get all your official documentation together. So do this immediately in the next 30 days and update it monthly. I don't care if you're not buying a home for years. Create the subfolders in your home buying file. Number 1, income. You want the last 30 to 60 days of pay stubs. You want your last 2 years of your W-2s. And if you're a 1099er, you want those. You want the paperwork on your bonus income, your commission records, or self-employed records if that's the kind of employment that you've got going on. Number 2, taxes. You want your last 2 years of federal tax returns. You want business returns if you're self-employed, and you want rental income documentation if you happen to have any rental property. Number 3, your assets. You want the last 2 months of checking statements. You want the last 2 months of saving statements, and you want your retirement and investment statements, and have them all in that one subfolder there. Subfolder 4, debts. You want to have the complete statements on your student loans, your car loans, your credit card loans, your personal loans, any loans you've got. Number 5, if you're getting your down payment from someone else, we call this subfolder a down payment source. If you're doing it on your own, you're going to have your savings account statements. If you're getting it from someone else, you want to have gift fund notes. That's something that you're going to be talking to your lender about later, but start keeping notes in here and you can add documentation later. And you also want to keep in there any bonus or commission documentation. Number 6, who the hell are you? This is your identity subfolder. Your driver's license or your state ID, picture of that, your social security number, and your current address history, going back a few. And then number 7, your rent history. You want to have a copy of your current lease, your rent payment proof, and landlord contact information if needed. This is important because your rent history should be something you should already be tracking and having in some subfolder somewhere because you can use it to up your credit score now. Something that's just happened in the last couple of years. Action step number 7, find out what down payment assistance programs could drastically help and change your numbers for the better. I'm telling you, get ahead of the game on this one. The tragedy isn't that there aren't enough down payment assistance programs out there to help people. There are over 2,600 of them, and 62% of them are specifically for first-time homebuyers. The tragedy is that first-time homebuyers are still being told that they need to save for years, while thousands of assistance programs, they sit underutilized because nobody did the research or none of the professionals that were helping these first-time homebuyers told them about it. So now I'm telling you, don't be afraid to research, ask your professionals, and find out for yourself. I see so many people delay or stop their planning before understanding how much down payment assistance programs are out there and how much availability there really is. And here's a big tip. Whatever you heard from your parents, your friend, even your friend that bought a home last month, their information on down payment assistance programs and grants, it's not up to date because they change all the time. And I know a lot of people think that, oh, well, those are only for people that, have a really low income. It's not true. Not all of them have a maximum income restriction. Some of them do, but they're actually a lot higher than most people think. And again, the data is in. These are massively underutilized. So everybody should at least explore their options while they're making their plan. It could be a huge swing in how much money you need to save. In some cases, you can even use more than one down payment assistance program. It's called stacking. We had a single mom in New York. She bought a $300,000 home for $31.25. And we had another couple, I forget how much, $250, $275, I think. They bought a home for $120.95. And we've had people buy $500,000 homes for less than $5,000 by using down payment assistance programs. To discover your options, here's how you do it. Don't Google first-time homebuyer grants. You'll get some answers, but not the best answers. So don't do that. And do find a lender who specializes in first-time homebuyer programs because there are over, like I said, 2,600 of them in America, and most of the buyers never hear about the ones that they actually qualify for. Before I tell you where you should go to look, let me give you a quick side note. When you're Googling these places I'm about to tell you about, no doubt you're going to find something called NACA when you start Googling, NACA. I get asked about it all the time. You want to know why? Because it looks too good to be true, and it is. NACA, in my mind, it's PETA. That's a pain in the ass. It's got so many hoops to jump through. And I'm telling you, 20 years of experience, I've only closed one buyer who used NACA, and it was the worst buyer experience that I've ever seen a client have to endure. Here's the way NACA works. In short, with even just a little help and professional guidance, you can avoid the strict hoops and craziness and nightmare of NACA and replace it with just some simple planning. And then you can use dozens of other loan programs and down payment assistance programs that get you to the finish line so much faster and so much easier. So here's where you go. Here's your homework. First, you want to look at down payment resource. After that, you want to look at your state's housing finance agency, the HFA, Housing Finance Agency. Just put in your state's name, Housing Finance Agency. And finally, this is the golden nugget. Look up your city and county housing departments and find out what local first-time homebuyer grants are there. I'm telling you, these things hardly ever get touched. And here's another number that might help you think that maybe you should do this. Let me ask you this. Would your planning for buying a home change if you had, an extra $18,000 lying around? Because in 2025, that was the average benefit that qualified buyers received using down payment assistance. And finally, action step number 8, avoid the scramble. Make your home buying calendar for yourself today. Each year, there are millions of prospective first-time home buyers, and they just don't know any better, so they do things on their own, and they do them in the wrong order. They start scrolling homes, going, well, that'd be fun someday, maybe when I can afford that. And then you're driving around and, they pop in an open house. They get excited about that. So they go home, they do a little research, and they use an online mortgage calculator, and they make a DIY guesstimate of how much home they can afford. And then they start saving until they feel ready. And I put quotes around that, until they feel ready. Well, while they're doing that, of course, they're looking at houses online, and suddenly they see one online and they go to the open house and they love the house. And now, boom, the scramble starts. Man, this is a great open house. There are a bunch of people here. We got to put an offer in on this house. We can afford it. It says we can. Okay, now we got to find a lender, a realtor, a plan, a strategy, a loan option. What are we going to do? Suddenly they realize they need to understand not just that, they got to hire people, and they need to know everything about writing the offer, the best negotiation tactics, the interest rates, the available loans, the down payment options, closing costs. What else? Earnest money, inspections, timelines, contingencies, conditions, approvals, appraisal issues, homeowners insurance, and a billion other things that they've never thought of, or they haven't researched completely and they only have partial information. And that is when the scramble starts. And the scramble is panic, stress, overwhelm, and sometimes sheer terror. That becomes their 24/7 while they're trying to figure this out, and it's not fun. And the worst thing about it is the scramble is where a lot of first-time home buyers make very expensive mistakes. So the first question that anybody asks me when I'm being interviewed or talking to my colleagues or from the tens of thousands of How to Buy Homies that reach out to me here, first thing they always ask me is, what's the biggest mistake and how do people avoid it? And the answer, the biggest mistake is the scramble. This is what I tell people. My sister lives in another state right now, and if she reached out to me, this is what I would tell her. Don't plan for this on your own. Build your team first, your plan second, and then go home shopping. Now, building your team and building your plan, that could take 2 weeks. It could take 2 months. It could take 2 years. But you do that first before you do any home shopping. That's going to give you the most confidence and, most importantly, the most buying power. And my favorite word in real estate, it's going to give you options. And then people go, I'm not ready. What do you mean? Okay, I get it. I understand. You don't feel like you're ready to buy a home. I didn't say to buy a home. I said to start a plan. And think of it this way. If you're not going to buy a home for a year or two, what's the worst thing that could happen if you start with building your team and then you find out, hey, these people aren't working for me. They don't really know the first-time home buyer market, or we're just not vibing, whatever. Great. Move on and find someone else. Because what happens if you figure that out during the middle of a scramble and you got to put an offer in this weekend? It's better to know today that you're not working with your best advocate than in the middle of the scramble when you're going to lose your dream home. In a scramble, it's enough pressure and crazy stress to try to figure out how to do this. But imagine at the same time trying to figure out if you've actually got the best people helping you do it, especially if you're making choices that you're going to have to live with for a lifetime. Now, if you're here now and you're new and you clicked on this podcast because you want to get some quick DIY action steps that you could do immediately so you could help yourself get ready. Awesome. You know what? Rad. Bitchin'. I totally applaud you. Now, what I'm going to do right now is I'm not going to take 10 minutes to expand on why avoiding the scramble is the biggest tip I can ever give. I do it in several other episodes. If you want to get all that information, go to episode 400 or maybe even 500, since that one's going to be coming out soon. Every year I redo the ultimate first 10 steps for every first-time home buyer, the complete guide. Started at 400 last year, it'll be 500 this year. Today, I'm going to assume that either you haven't done that or you have done it and you're just getting a refresher course. But if you haven't done it, go there. You'll get the action plan homework for this step so you can avoid the panic of a scramble. Listen to those, and while you're listening to those, let me give you your homework for the next 30 days. Do not start with the homes. Do not start with the savings account. And don't even start with your credit score, even though I said that's your priority because it takes time. Start with your plan. Pick your ideal month to buy a home and then work backwards. And the first 30 days, you're going to schedule these steps so that you don't run into a scramble at any time during your home buying process. First thing you do this week, next 7 days, choose your target buying window. Figure out if you're thinking about buying in 3 months, 6 months, 12 months, or longer than that. Also this week, we're going to add to it. Go to the episode guide in the show notes. There's titles for everything you need to know about buying a home. I've recorded everything. It's been 7 years. It's all here. Pick 5 to 7 episodes for each week for the next 30 days. You can do that because it's free. Doesn't cost you anything. There's no sponsors. There's no catch. Just pure empowerment so you can do this process right and avoid those scrambles. Now, when you get to week 2, here's what you're going to do. Hopefully by week 2, you've finished either 400 or 500, the 10-step program. You're going to schedule an educational conversation, a discovery conversation with a first-time home buying specialized realtor. And then you're either going to hire them or you're going to rinse and repeat until you find the right advocate to help you with your personal plan. After you hire someone, you're going to ask your realtor for recommendations so that you can have another educational discovery conversation, this time with some lenders who are going to be strategic advisors, not order takers. People that are going to help you build your best buying strategy for all the months it takes to get you before you're ready to go out and buy a home. Then week 3, this is your big tip. This is where after you've set your calendar, you've interviewed people, you've hired people, now you're going to start doing things in what I call parallel planning, which means you're not going to just do one thing at a time. Even if you're a year away from buying, you're going to work on your credit score while you're working on your debt, while you're working on your savings, and you're going to have plenty of people to help you out with that. And a big part of your parallel planning is continuing your research. What you're going to do is you're going to make your podcast playlist, listen to an episode a workday, 5 a week, and then while you're getting that information and you're getting the most efficient, comprehensive, and most powerful first-time homebuyer custom planning made just for you, you're going to add in professionals to bring in their opinion for the most efficient, comprehensive, and powerful first-time homebuyer custom planning that is made for you based on what they've talked to you about in your discovery conversations. People who have your best interest in mind. And then by week 4, you're going to have done research on your own as well on the 7 items that we've talked about here today. Building your true payment number, building a no regrets wish list, prioritizing your credit score, creating a down payment savings automation, starting your neighborhood reconnaissance, and building your mortgage evidence file, as well as researching down payment assistance programs. Doing all this stuff at once in just 30 days, which isn't a big ask when you're talking about the biggest financial investment of your life. This is how you do it right. Planning on your own, that's a direct path to a scramble. You don't have to do this on your own. I told you, parallel planning, you've got 2 huge full-time resources for you. The How to Buy a Home podcast playlist for your daily consumption with the best insider information available to empower first-time home buyers anywhere. And you also are going to have a world-class professional support team helping you craft your personal plan with clarity and confidence. Don't do this on your own. Don't wait until you're ready to hire a team. because you can have people by your side today to help you get ready. Now, can you do this by yourself? Can you DIY buying a home? Yeah, but you don't have to. Find the clarity, the affordability, and the confidence. And most importantly, make sure that you avoid that scramble. If you've got more questions, you can go to howtobuyahome.com. Ask me anything you like. There's a button that says Ask David. Or you can use the link below in the show notes. That's where you can ask if we've got a unicorn realtor in your local area, so you can start this pre-planning with a professional first-time homebuyer specialized team. Gang, take control of your future today. You can do this.
Looking for more DIY education or your own personal step-by-step guidance through the home buying journey? Since 2019, How to Buy a Home has been the #1 resource for first-time home buyers. So visit howtobuyahome.com to get started.